Across the borough in Dagenham, Simon and Bill, one of the council's sewage clean-up teams, have also arrived at their first job of the day. Simon's regular partner, the old master himself, Terry, is off sick for a few weeks, so Simon's got his hands full with new partner Bill.
Terry's off for a few days.
No, he's wandering.
Oh, he's wandering still. Oh, yeah, he's still wandering. He'd better hurry up and come back and do some work. Mind you, it's gave me a chance to be on the telly, innit?
Yeah.
Thank you, Terry. So kind.
Not only has Simon got landed with Bill, this blockage at some flats has the potential to be a nightmare, as there are so many properties that the boys might have to gain access to find where the pipes are blocked. Best to have a look under a few accessible sewer covers, all of which seem to be blocked. The diagnosis is that all roads lead to a back garden in a house next to the block of flats. The key is to get access to the garden and to clear what's called an interceptor, or the crossroads, where all the sewers meet. There's just one problem, no one's answering, but for Bill, these challenges are what it's all about.
It's always a challenge. Every job's a challenge because you're always constantly using your brain. Well, working the council, you don't normally have a brain, but but some of us have. I just love my job. I don't like the blokes I work with, don't tell them though.
Oh dear. You're wrong, aren't you?
Press don't like the look of me.
With Bill left realising that the person's not in, hence why they won't open the door to him, and the risk of raw sewage flooding back into some 50 flats, Simon calls up Bree, one of the environmental health officers, who can try and get the homeowner to allow them access.
Environmental health will be here in 5 minutes.
Nice young lady with lots of powers. We ain't got none. Because we're the underdogs. We're just small people. We're just the dirty workers.
So it's just Simon's luck that he'll have to wait with Bill till Bree turns up. In Dagenham, Bree, the environmental health officer, has arrived to help sewage teams Simon and Bill.
This is Bree, the environmental health officer. She's come here to sort our problem out for us.
After a quick explanation of how they need to gain access to the garden of the house, Bree decides, using all the powers available to her, that the best form of attack is to drop a card through the letterbox and wait for the woman to call her. So it's just left to Bill to cap the dead-end job off with another slight indiscretion.
I've just stepped in some doggy poo and I stink.
There's a joint decision to cut their losses and get on to the next job. Hopefully the woman will get in touch with Bree before the situation deteriorates any more, and Simon and Bill can eventually get into her garden and clear the blockage. In Dagenham, southeast London, there's no chance of a break for Simon and Bill. They've moved on to their next job, along with Bree to keep them company, or just to keep an eye on Bill, who's still got a little whiff about him from the dog poo he stood in.
I smell something. Could be you.
It could be me.
Go and stand.
You can't do that to me. It's not very nice to talk
No,
to me
I'm
like
not
that.
asking you to stand over there.
The tenant of the house has also reported a strong smell, but this one's coming from her drains, so up to the boys to investigate further.
The lady next door is complaining of the smell coming up. So what we're going to do now, we're going to check this drain here, see if it's full, and then what we'll do afterwards, we're going to knock 2 doors down and find out if they're up, and see if the smell's coming in with it.
So it's time to get reacquainted with an old friend. The sewer run is obviously blocked. It's now left to Bill to finally get his tools out to try and free the blockage.
Right, what I'm going to do now, I've got a 6-inch plunger. It's very good. I'm going to put it down into the interceptor, because as you can see it's full. I'm going to try and give it a couple of push to try and free it.
After a quick shifty with the plunger, the pipe may seem clear, but Bill's got Simon to bring the van round so he can give the run a quick jet, a job that often renders Bill smelling even worse than he does now.
You're talking to the bad man who always gets covered. When you're jetting at full pelt, you get all the water coming back at you, and if you hit it at the wrong spot, bingo, you get everything.
In Dagenham, Simon's got the van up and running for Bill to jet the run and clear the sewer. Bill may have been soaked by the jet before, but there could be other potential problems in using the jet for the residents.
If you jet up into it wrong, you can go up to the slipper that goes into the people's house, like goes into the toilet, which that could be dangerous because then you end up blowing the toilet off the wall. But hopefully I'm too experienced enough not to do that. and hopefully no one's sitting on the toilet.
So Bill gives the jet a go, this time hopefully with no blowbacks. Soon enough, the froth in the run gives a clue as to the nature of the blockage.
Right, the smell was coming up into the lady's house 2 doors down, and what it is, a load of soap powder was blocking it.
With the run now clear of soap powder, a sense of satisfaction is in the air.
It's good when you get the actual job done, and if you do clear it, it is quite exciting really, because you've cleared the job.
All that's left now to do is for Bill to carefully return the tools of the trade to Simon over the fence.
Pass my friend the rod over there, like that.
Wrong one, in the motor.
The only downer on the day is after returning to the first job, the woman is still not in, so the boys will have to return another day, probably very soon.